Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got There Will Never Be Another Ray Lewis. Let's check this out.
A great defense is
I know I love Baltimore Ravens, man. Huge Baltimore Ravens fan, and Ray Lewis, the best linebacker of all time.
The Chicago Bears were led by Hall of Famer Mike Singletary. The 80s New York Giants were led by Lawrence Taylor. And even recently, the 2013 Seattle Seahawks were led by Richard Sherman and the Legion of Boom. However, there has been no better example of this than the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, led by Ray Lewis. The 2000 Ravens are the literal definition of the mantra, defense wins championships. Their offense, led by Trent Dilfer, would finish in the bottom half of the league in scoring.
It's ridiculous, man.
But their defense, wow, their defense would finish the regular season only allowing 10.3 points per game, finishing first in the league by far. In the playoffs, they would dominate their way to a Super Bowl ring, allowing their opponents to an insane 5.7 points per game.
5.7 points per game?
Loaded and is arguably the greatest defense in the history of football.
Yo, that's crazy,
leading
bro.
that defense by example was none other than Ray freaking Lewis.
Yes, sir.
Go right, go right, go right, go right. Hey! Eyes! Eyes!
Ray Lewis is one of the greatest defensive players the NFL has ever seen. But just how good was Ray Lewis? That's what we're here to discuss. There will never be another Ray Lewis. And in this video, we'll be going over why. From how he got to the NFL to how good he was in his prime. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
I got you, Gangy.
So you'll never miss a video like this one.
I got you, Gangy.
I saw you play your last high school game. The way you played got you into college.
After a phenomenal career as a linebacker at Kathleen High School in Lakeland, Florida, Lewis would commit to playing football at the U as a Miami Hurricane.
I had one pair of jeans. I had 3 white t-shirts. I had 1 pack of number 2 pencils.
Damn.
I had 2 folders. And that's what my grandmother dropped me off with $20 worth of food stamps.
Ray would have some absolutely elite teammates in his time at Miami.
Everybody's not blessed,
such as
bro.
1999 NFL Defensive Player of the Year and Pro Football Hall of Famer Warren Sapp, Super Bowl champion Dwayne Starks, who happened to be on the 2000 Ravens with Lewis, and even Hollywood and WWE legend Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah,
that's crazy.
The Rock played college football with Ray Lewis. Crazy,
wow.
right? As a freshman, Ray Lewis would make an immediate impact for the Canes, even becoming a full-time starter over halfway into the season. Lewis would record 81 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 4 pass deflections, leading to him being named to the freshman All-American team. He only started 5 games. Absolutely ridiculous.
Wow.
His sophomore year would see him as a full-time starter for the first time, and he would not disappoint.
Damn.
He would record a Big East leading 153 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and even recorded his first collegiate interception.
Did he take it back to the crib?
To the nation's top defense and being named to the All-American and All-Big East teams. At this point, Ray Lewis had been recognized as one of the best defensive players in the country, and deservedly so. He was doing such big things as a sophomore, and there was only progress to be made. Case in point, his junior year. As a junior, Lewis would become a Miami Hurricane all-time great, recording 160 tackles, which is the second most in a season ever by a Hurricane. He would once again be named to the All-American and All-Big East teams, but this time around, he would finish as the runner-up for the Butkus Award, which names the best linebacker in college football.
Bro, that hit was crazy.
For the Butkus Award, which names the best linebacker in college football. Lewis led the Big East in tackles for 2 years straight, and despite only playing 3 seasons, recorded the 5th most tackles in Miami history. The guy was a freak, and of course, he would decide to forego his senior season and enter the 1996 NFL Draft, where he would be selected 26th overall by the brand new Baltimore Ravens.
Ray, you are the second choice of the Baltimore Ravens, number 26.
The Ravens were going into their first ever draft as a franchise, and Ray would ultimately be the second player ever to be selected as a Baltimore Raven, as they would select superstar tackle and future Hall of Famer Jonathan Ogden with the 4th overall pick. What a first round for the new franchise. Are Ogden and Lewis the most talented first-round duo of all time? Let us know in the comments. Many had been concerned with Ray's size coming into the league, hence him falling to 26. But in his first ever game as a pro, he immediately immediately would shut them down. In a 19-14 win over the Oakland Raiders, Lewis would win AFC Defensive Player of the Week, recording 7 tackles and an interception, telling the world that Ray Lewis and the Baltimore Ravens in their first ever game as a franchise.
I like that old school Ravens logo though.
Lewis would make the all-rookie team following
I hope
the
we bring
season
those helmets
after
back
recording
this year
a team leading
with that
110
logo.
tackles and an NFL-leading 15 tackles for loss. The following season, Lewis would make his first All-Pro team after leading the entire NFL with 184 tackles, an insane 156 of them being solo tackles. And the next year, he did it again. He didn't quite lead the league in tackles again because he only played 14 games, but he still made an All-Pro team. In only 3 seasons, Ray Lewis was a multi-time All-Pro, a multi-time Pro Bowler, a tackles leader, and one of the best defensive players in the sport. In 1999, Lewis made his first ever first-team All-Pro team, once again leading the NFL in tackles. But where Ray's story really took a turn was in 2000, and you might not know where this is going. In 2000, Ray Lewis got into some trouble with the law, pleading guilty to obstruction of justice in connection with the stabbing deaths of 2 men. He would testify as a key witness in trial, and thankfully, a jury determined that the stabbings were acts of self-defense, meaning that Ray and the culprit would not be in any legal trouble. So, what did Ray come back and do the following season? Ray Lewis and the Baltimore Ravens made history. Not only did Ray Lewis win his first NFL Defensive Player of the Year award, but the Baltimore Ravens had arguably the greatest single defensive season in NFL history. Now, I wouldn't go too in-depth about it, considering it was talked about at the beginning of the video, but as you know, it resulted in a Super Bowl win where they became only the 2nd team ever to record a defensive shutout in the Super Bowl. Did you know that Ray Lewis's 5 tackles and 4 pass deflections would earn him the honor of being named Super Bowl 35 MVP? That's right. Ray Lewis not only won Defensive Player of the Year, but he won a Super Bowl MVP in the exact same season, and the Baltimore Ravens had won a Super Bowl in only their 5th year of existence. Ravens fans,
that's legendary right there, bro.
Love you, Ray. Lewis would continue his dominance in the following seasons, making his 3rd straight first-team All-Pro in 2001, cementing his legacy as an all-time great. Unfortunately, Lewis would only play 5 games in 2002 due to a shoulder injury, ultimately ending his Pro Bowl and All-Pro streak. Clearly, this pissed Lewis off because he came back in 2003 stronger than ever. He would play a full 16-game season in 2003 after his injury and would have arguably the best season of his career. He would record 163 tackles, 6 interceptions,
6 picks?
tackles for loss,
Holy
his
shit.
2nd career Defensive Player of the Year award, and being 1 vote short of being a unanimous first-team
That's
All-Pro.
crazy as a
Ray
linebacker,
Lewis
even
was on
back
top of
then,
the
bro.
world. He was the best defensive player in the entire NFL.
To have 6
and was quickly
interceptions.
creeping his way up all-time linebacker rankings. After making yet another first-team All-Pro in 2004, Lewis suffered an injury in 2005, shortening his
That's the year I was
season to
born.
6 games. The following 2 seasons after that would see a healthy Ray Lewis, but surprisingly at this point he wouldn't make an All-Pro team. It seemed like if Ray was healthy, it was a guarantee at this point, but that didn't happen. Come 2008, he would get back to his All-Pro ways, making 3 straight All-Pro teams yet again, including 2 first-team All-Pro nods in 2008 and 2009. He was back on top. Lewis was coming to the end of his prime, and there was only one thing on his mind: winning one more championship.
That's
and
exactly what happened.
So close in 2011, but unfortunately, the
20,
Ravens would lose in the AFC
2012,
Championship to Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
What are we holding our heads down for? We lost. But there's no way that you're going to walk out of this locker room and not be a man. A man takes his losses and walks out of this locker room and keeps his head up high and hopefully inspires somebody who's going through way worse than you're going through.
After Ravens receiver Lee Evans dropped a
Like,
key
how the fuck you
touchdown
drop
late
that?
in the game,
Goofy
followed
ass
by a
nigga.
huge missed
And this
field
shit
goal
right
by
here.
Ravens
I'm
kicker Billy
glad
Cundiff.
this kicker is gone.
We will be back here next year in this same place to finish it next time.
That's exactly what happened.
After that heartbreak
Thank you.
loss, the
If y'all saw that
2012
weird jump
season
cut, I
became
had to
immediately
sneeze.
big, as the Ravens
Holy
championship
shit.
window was as open as it had been in years. They would end up as the 4 seed in the playoffs, and before the playoffs had ever begun, Ray would announce that the next however many games would be his last. so the Ravens had to make them count. It was clear that Ray was out of his prime at this point, but he was still Ray Lewis, so of course he made a massive impact. In his last ever home game, the wild card game against Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts, Lewis would even line up at fullback after they had secured the win, giving the Baltimore fans one last Ray Lewis moment.
That's so sick. It did. One last dance, man.
Then the Ravens would go on an all-time run. On the back of quarterback Joe Flacco, the Baltimore Ravens would make it all the way to Super Bowl 47. This game would be Ray's last, and he had the opportunity to go out on top. After recording 2 tackles for loss and a pass deflection, the Ravens had defeated the San Francisco 49ers, and Ray Lewis had won his 2nd Super Bowl in his last ever professional football game. You couldn't.
Bro, that's gotta feel good to like retire off of one last Super Bowl, bro.
A legend of the game, the greatest linebacker of all time, and one of the greatest NFL players.
I feel like that's what Aaron Donald should have done.
Ray Lewis earned this. All of his success was
because he had nothing else to prove, bro.
There will never be another Ray Lewis. With the game's emphasis on passing becoming more prominent, traditional middle linebackers have become rare. Lewis is probably one of the last players to play the game as it was in its golden age. Who reminds you of Ray Lewis today? Is there anyone?
Roquan Smith.
That Ray Lewis is this good? Do you think that he's the greatest linebacker of all time?
Hell yeah.
Let us know in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching the Halftime Show.
Hey, man. Do y'all think Ray Lewis is the best linebacker of all time? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you're new, turn on my post notification, notified whenever I drop another banger video. And without further ado, I'm out. Gang!